This is the Russian Dynamite, Masha Slamovich.
Becca here.
This is not America's Sweetheart, Davian.
It's Billy Starks. And
the super fly guy, Trayvon Jordan.
This is the fly side flyer, Jalen Brandon.
Hardcore Princess, Jules Malone.
Hi there, this is the Bubblegum Princess, Alexia Nicole.
This is the Brazilian Wonder Woman, Christy Jane.
This is the baddest black belt, Chennai Kai.
This is Kid Bandit.
The smash hit, Joel Bateman.
This is Robin Renegade.
Cody Hawk.
Brutal Bob Evans. And you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment, one of my favorite podcasts in the whole wide world.
Hello, everybody. This is Starboy Nano Lopez. I have the pleasure to be here with Wrestling with Entertainment podcast, so don't miss it out. Check it out. You're going to have so much fun.
Hello, and welcome to the show. It's Wrestling with Entertainment, the only audio experience on the web today, the trusted choice for interviewing all your favorite wrestlers every Tuesday and Wednesday on YouTube and Castbox, sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. I'm, of course, your host, James J., and it's a great day for wrestling, because we are wrestling with Starboy Nano Lopez.
Hi, James J. Hi, Wrestling with Entertainment. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Pleasure is all ours. Can you tell us where this Starboy will be shining next event-wise?
Yeah, so currently I'm wrestling for Primetime Wrestling, a promotion based in Poland. And we have shows every month. You need to check it out on socials at PTW or Primetime Wrestling. And there you will find out the soonest wrestling events in Poland.
And where can we find you on social media and your merchandise?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at Starboy Nano Lopez all together. And of course, I have a YouTube channel where I'm uploading some stuff from time to time at Starboy PW. So yeah, make sure you check this out because it's worth it.
And where can we find merchandise?
The only way to get merchandise right now is at the live shows. But obviously I have t-shirts, I have sunglasses, and I have some pictures. So if you are really interested, you can always drop me an email on Instagram, and I will happily talk to you about it.
Perfect. And you don't even have to go looking for it. All of the links to all his social media will be in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and Castbox. Alright, let's get into it. You mentioned it. You work for Primetime Wrestling. Can you tell us about your relationship with the company?
Yeah, so I am one of the PTW originals, sort of speak, because I have been there since the beginning of the promotion back in early 2021. So this is my home promotion. This is the place where I perform the most, although I have international experience as well. But yeah, this is a big company that broke up, in Poland like 4 years ago, and we had the pleasure to work with the best talent in the world, both inside the ring and in the backstage, production-wise and wrestling-wise. It's been a tremendous ride, and we are still there. We're hanging in, and we are bringing excitement to everybody once a month.
And, it does seem like there is somewhat of a wrestling boom in Poland right now. You guys are garnering a lot of attention and a big crowd every month, no?
Yeah, I mean, I'm from Spain, but I'm living in Poland for many years, and yes, you are right, James. The Polish wrestling scene has seen a very big wrestling boom in the last, I would say, five. In the last 5 years, everything has come to a big phenomenon. There are a lot of companies, a lot of promotions, a lot of wrestlers, and the quality is no different than the quality you can find in the UK or in Germany or any other European countries. So yeah, that's something to be proud of. Absolutely.
You mentioned it. You're originally from Spain. So how did you find yourself in Poland? Was it because of pro wrestling?
No, not necessarily. You know, I'm a wrestling fan since I was 12, 11, 12, and obviously that was all I cared about. And I moved to Poland, like I said, 13 or 14 years ago. And I'm 35, by the way, so you can do the math. But no, it was more of personal reasons and, you know, professional decisions, you know, apart from wrestling. But, you know, that's the beauty of this world, right, of professional wrestling, that it will find you wherever you go, or you can find wrestling wherever you go. So, you know, that's the beauty of it.
Oh, yeah. It does seem like Spain is getting a bit of a wrestling boom itself at the moment.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, there is like a Spanish wrestler that is current NXT Tag Team Champion, you know, Axiom, previously known as A-Kid. There are a lot of young wrestlers out there that are going to WWE tryouts. There is a lot of wrestling promotions that are, you know, bringing wrestling to all over the country. So, yeah, it's a moment that we could only imagine and dream of like 10 years ago. Absolutely.
Now, you started your pro wrestling journey and career in Poland, but
yes,
your actual first match was in Spain, right?
Yeah, so the first, like, let's say, documented official match that was not like a dojo show or a house show was actually in Spain, in Barcelona, during COVID time. Yeah. You know, the thing, and I'm sure a lot of people who are listening to this and a lot of fellow wrestlers can relate to that, is that, you know, COVID was like a very big thing for all of us because we couldn't have shows, we couldn't train, we couldn't, you know, it was like the world was stopped for all of us. So, yeah, I was no different, and that's why the life took me through a different way, and I find out myself having my first official, again, match in Spain and not in Poland, where I was training for the last 4 or 5 years.
What does that kind of mean to you to be able to compete in your, you know, home country?
Well, obviously it was a dream come true because I'm no longer a very young kid. So, you know, I always dreamed when I was 15, when I was 20, when I was 17, when I was 12. I was dreaming about, oh my God, how it's going to be to wrestling here in Spain, how it's going to be to have a show in front of people, how it's going, you know, you ask all these questions because the wrestling scene was practically invisible or inexistent. So it was a dream come true, of course. A lot of nerves, a lot of emotions, a roller coaster, but at the end of the day, a dream come true.
All right. Well, speaking of dreams come true, you had the honor of wrestling Matt Sydel on WWE's Evan Bourne. You know, obviously a big name. What was that experience like?
It's funny because when I'm talking to you right now, in front of me, I have a picture of me with Sydel in the ring that I have framed and I have in my room. So, well, it was definitely a game changer because I don't have a lot of experience in even today, but back then I had even less, right? So to be in a big stage with such a name that I actually watched when I was younger in WWE as Evan Bourne, as you mentioned, and to be just next to him and, you know, have the opportunity and the chance and having someone in primetime wrestling believing that I can, you know, be a good partner for Sydel, well, it was a dream come true. And then obviously having the opportunity to meet him and, you know, understanding and realizing how down to earth he is and how helpful he was, well, another dream come true, you know, another check on the list.
When did you find out that you was going to wrestle him?
I find out like a month before the show. Obviously, the promoter let us know or, you know, ask for our opinion. That's something I really value, that we are always able to give feedback or to, you know, share ideas. Obviously, when this came to my way, I would not say no. Right. I admit that I was scared and I was like, oh my God, this is it's on, you know, you're like we're rolling. But But it was good. I mean, it was great news. When I shared it in Instagram, in my socials, I remember a lot of people couldn't believe that. Like, oh my God, this is crazy. You know, I used to watch him, and now he's going to be with you. You know, so yeah, it was shocking, but of course in a very, very positive way.
Being in the ring with Matt Sydel, you know, having that match, was that a moment you took in the moment? Or was it something that kind of set in afterwards, like, wow, I did this?
Yeah, I mean, it was more, you know, the second, the part, like, during that time, everything happened so fast that you don't even have a time. And that's something I regret. That's something, you know, I wish I knew better, because I would even appreciate and enjoy it more. But everything happened so fast that you don't realize until you are after that, until your adrenaline goes down, even until the next day when you watch it back, you play it back on your phone or your computer, you realize what an important moment you personally had. But at the time, no, everything happened so fast, and, you know, your adrenaline and the nerves and the rush and this and that. So you don't really have the time to stop and just breathe for a second, which I regret again, because right now I try to do that more. You know, before I go through the curtain, I always try to think, okay, I'm doing this. This is what I wanted to do. This is what I dream of, and I'm going to do it, and I'm enjoying it no matter what. This is, you know, this is something I really dream about, and I cheer those moments more now because I am aware of what they mean, and you never know when it's going to be the last one, right? So to try to, you know, to embrace those moments, and that's what I'm doing.
I gotcha. Now, on to maybe not so great moments. Can you tell us about your rivalry with Sinister?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very, very bittersweet, because I honestly, and I don't say that because I was involved in the rivalry by any means, but I think we should always give credit where credit is due, and I think our rivalry was by far, I would say, the best rivalry of the year. So it was a little bit bittersweet the way everything ended, and, you know, yeah, I think I have to say it. The way, you know, like, we were not even awarded with the rivalry of the year because the people decided to vote for other things. So it kind of, you know, left us with a little bittersweet taste, you know. But I enjoyed the rivalry a lot because I'm a true believer that wrestling is all about storylines and about long-term planning. I think that leads people and fans and everyone to invest in those characters, invest in the wrestling, invest in the story and everything that is going on. You can see the evolution of the characters, you can see their motivation. So I really, really enjoyed being part of such a long-term storyline that sadly ended up very abruptly because of differences between different parties in the company, and because, yeah. But it was like a 1.5 year storyline. So that tells you the vision that we had for it. It worked to some extent. And I think I'm very proud of the match that Sinister and I had at PTW3 Legends, the last man standing match with Krampus interfering during a blackout, and me being chokeslammed through a table in front of more than 1,000 people in the crowd. I think, you know, we had very, very, very great moments. So I'm very proud of it. But like I said, I have a little bit bittersweet taste because it could be even better. But, you know, sometimes you win and sometimes you learn.
Right. No, it's not every day somebody tells you they were very proud of getting smashed through a table.
That's very right.
Now, you know, obviously you're wrestling in Poland right now. I've wrestled in Spain. Can you tell us about the time you wrestled in Finland?
Yeah, so I actually had the privilege to wrestle in Finland for Slam Wrestling, for Starbucks promotion. I had the chance, and I had the opportunity to also wrestle him in a tag team later on the same year in Poland in one of our big shows. You know, the beauty of wrestling is that it's like music, I would say. It's like it's a universal language, you know. You travel to Finland, you travel to Portugal, you travel to South America, to Mexico, to Japan, and it's, of course, there are differences, but it's basically the same thing, you know. Everybody speaks that language. So going to Finland and perform for a different crowd, it was a fantastic event, in my opinion, and the crowd was amazing, and everybody was happy of having me there, and I couldn't be happier of being there. So yeah, and Starbuck is an old school promoter, and I actually enjoy that because he has a different vision than somebody who just broke into the business. So with that, you build your own experience based on the people you work with. So yeah, I was very, very happy to be there. I was only once, but I hope to get back there in the near future.
Oh yeah, Starbuck comes from the, as I like to call them, the Wild West days of pro wrestling.
Right.
What were some of the differences you saw, you know, wrestling in Poland compared to wrestling in Finland?
Hey, like I said, almost nothing, to be honest, really. The moment I get to the venue, everybody was very welcoming, the same way they will be in Poland. The way we put the match together would be the exact same way, you know, like everybody. The thing I appreciate the most, being Spanish and living abroad, is when we don't have a language barrier, right? Because if you don't speak the local language, and by any means I speak Finnish, and the people in Finland would not speak English or Spanish, that would make the conversation much more difficult. But luckily, everybody there spoke perfect English, and the way we put the match together, the way we perform, the way the people react, it's no different than in Poland or in any other country. Like, for real, yeah.
I gotcha. So, you mentioned that you actually had the honor of wrestling Starbuck in a tag team match. What was that experience like? Because obviously, you know, the godfather of Finnish pro wrestling, well-known, well-respected name.
Absolutely, absolutely. It was a privilege, like I said. I had the opportunity and the chance. There was a tag team match. I was tagging with another Spanish wrestler, a good friend of mine, Caden, and we were facing like the old guard that happened to be in Poland, like in the past, for a wrestling show. They were like the pioneers of Polish wrestling, one of the first pro wrestling shows ever in the history of Poland, and they were there. And I don't remember the exact year, but it might be 2008 or 2009, maybe even earlier. I don't remember. So it was like this storyline of young lions versus veterans, right? Starbuck was teaming up with Eric Isaacson, like the pioneer or the godfather of Norwegian pro wrestling. So it was like a full circle experience. You have the veterans from the Nordics against the young lions from the Southern Europe in a very big show. It was primetime wrestling, total blast from the past. And it was a genuine pleasure for me to work with them and having a great match and listen to their advices and see how things look from their standpoint, and you know how they pitch their ideas, what in their opinion will work good for the match, what we can do, what we maybe shouldn't do. So yeah, another experience and another opportunity to learn from the people who paved the way before us.
And you even got a shout out from Starbuck on Instagram, I believe, as well.
Sorry, once again, I haven't heard the first part. Sorry.
Yeah, you even got a shout out from Starbuck on Instagram. You know.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot because you know. All the feedback is welcome and all the shout outs and all of that, but obviously there are some people that you respect and you really appreciate, right? And Starbuck is definitely one of them.
No, you wrestled for Slam and then you had this match with Starbuck, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Do you think that, you know, just speculation here, that whatever you did in your match at Slam kind of prompted Starbuck to have the match that he had with you, you know, afterwards?
Yeah, I mean, it can be, absolutely. I don't know the reasoning. I'm not comfortable saying, yeah, that's probably the reason, but it could be. Yeah, it could be. And, you know, wrestling is no different than any other aspect in our life, and building connections and networking and getting to know people obviously works the long run, right? So yeah, that could be one of the reasons, or could be the reason. Yeah, you're right.
Now, going from slam wrestling to, I believe this took place in body slam. Can you tell us about your match against Carlos Zamora?
Yeah, so actually it was not body slam. I know body slam is a Danish promotion, but this
Northern Elite.
match against Carlos, it was at Nordic Elite Wrestling. Yeah, that's
Okay.
correct. And it was a main event, and it was for the Nordic Elite Wrestling title, so it was kind of a big deal for me. Carlos and I know each other again. Coming back to the previous topic, I knew him before. I had the opportunity to see him live in a wrestling show before. You know, when you are abroad and you know someone that actually is from your country or speaks your language or something, you immediately connect faster, or you have this bond, right? So Carlos Zamora is half Spanish, so it's just like, I mean, I'm 100% Spanish, but he's half Spanish, so I am, and that's why we bonded. And then this opportunity came. We started to talk in Instagram, and yeah, me and Sarah Leon, another wrestler, a very great women wrestler from Spain, we were given with such an opportunity. And man, I tell you, the Nordic Elite Wrestling shows are a blast, and I couldn't be happier to be main eventing one of them. And it was one of the best atmospheres I ever had in a wrestling show, to be honest.
And what did that kind of mean to you to main event their show for their world title? I mean, you know, obviously coming in as, you know, it's not somebody from that promotion.
Yeah, no, you're right, James. To me, it's mind-blowing because sometimes I have this imposter syndrome, right? Like you think you don't deserve that, or you don't think you are good enough. And I still have that, of course. And to have someone actually putting their trust on a big show and put you on the main event for the title, and, you know, actually have a sort of storyline with the current champion and all of that, it was overwhelming but of course on the good side, right? Like somebody's giving their trust and their financial aspect of it and everything, the logistics, just for you to be there, right? So you can only appreciate and give 120% of what you got, just to make sure that the people who come to see you get their money's worth, and that the promoter and everybody in the company is happy with you being there, and maybe, who knows, in the future considers bringing you back. That's all I wanted.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, the match that I'm going to bring up next, I feel kind of transitioned you to the Carlos match, and that is with one Emilian Lewis, who is definitely, you know, tearing up the Danish scene as of right now. What was that match like?
So yeah, I believe that was right after Christmas, I guess, or during that time. Emilia is a sweetheart. He's a very, very, very nice guy. And of course, right now, his career has skyrocketed and he's doing great, which I'm not surprised by any means, because he's the type of wrestler who looks the part, works the part, and most importantly, and that's the personal experience I had with him, he was coachable, he listens, he learns fast, and he really wants it. And he's not there for the fame, or he's not there for the money. He's there because he loves this. And you can really feel when someone loves it, or when someone is there for any other purpose, which I'm not saying is not legit. Everybody has their purpose, and that's perfectly fine. But Emilio was this kind of young lion and very hungry. And I'm not surprised that 3 years later, 2 3 years later after our match, he's doing very, very impressive things in the wrestling world in the northern part of Europe, because, you can immediately see when someone is very good and the sky is the limit for them.
Now, we talked about, you know, this match leading you, getting you the nod to be in the match with Carlos, and your slam wrestling appearance getting you a nod to wrestle Starbuck. What does that kind of mean to you? That, what you're doing is getting the right eyes on you. It's impressing people. It's getting you these opportunities.
I mean, sometimes I still don't believe it, right? I'm from a very small town in Spain, and wrestling was just a dream that happened to be very far away. And then, when you have the opportunity to be on the ring with a seasoned veteran who has seen it all and have wrestled everywhere like Starbuck, or when you are given the opportunity to main event for the world title against Carlos, who has been even in a WWE tryout, right? And he's a machine, man. This guy is like a killer. He's one of the most athletic guys I've ever been in the ring with. So when you see all of that, it's like there are only two possible ways. Either I am very good at selling myself and promoting myself and people are buying it, which I think is also maybe true, or it's also that you are doing things the right way and you are at the right place at the right time, and some people think that you are worth giving the opportunity and the chance. So one way or another, I'm happy with the way things have worked out for me so far, and I'm eternally thankful to the people who gave me the opportunity, and I always remember the people who gave me the opportunity, and I will always cheer them and respect them, because it takes a lot to get an opportunity, and these people, they gave one to me. So when they had a lot of people to give them as well, because there is a lot of talent out there, so that they thought about me even for a second, and they put me in their shows and they spend the money to bring me and all of that, it's something I will be eternally grateful for.
Now, just kind of going back to Poland, is their world title something that you have aspirations to obtain?
Of course. I mean, we shouldn't be hypocrites, and the main goal when you are in the wrestling world, there are a few stages, right, James? Like when you are training, your aim or your goal is to debut, right? When you debut, your second goal probably would be to have more fights or more matches. And then the third one would be, I don't know, something else, right? Like maybe fight for a bigger promotion or have international experience and so on and so on. But at some point in your career, you should pursue a championship, right? Because this is like the ultimate goal of any wrestler, right? You watch WWE, you watch AEW, you watch TNA. The biggest obsession of the big players is to go after the title, right? So yeah, I'm actually involving a storyline right now that I made a promise in July last year that I have 365 days to become a champion. And I will not let this promise to fall into empty hands. And yeah, we are in June, so the clock is ticking, and we will see. But obviously, that's the chance. That's the challenge right now, to get a championship, to get a title belt. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, you have, I would say, less than a month at this point to get that done.
Yeah, I mean, I have until technically I have until July 31st or 30th. I don't know. So yeah, almost a month. Yeah, you're almost right. So yeah, we'll see how that works.
All right. Maybe by the time you're listening to this, he might have some gold around his waist.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, that would be great.
I think it's time for Nano's Bizarre Adventure. You're a pro wrestler that goes up and down the roads, and weird, crazy, and bizarre things are bound to happen. Can you tell us a road story that fits that description?
So a story that is kind of bizarre?
Yes. Weird, crazy, bizarre.
Wrestling-wise, of course. I mean, I am lucky that I don't have many stories, but maybe one of them could be, I'm not going to say names or places because I don't want to compromise anyone, but once I was wrestling abroad, not in Poland, so I was abroad, and we had this big build-up for a match, right? Like, it was supposed to be the best of 3 series, and And throughout the match, I noticed that the wrestler I was working with was not very happy with me, or didn't want to be with me there at all or something. So I think he faked an injury just to call, things home and to finish the match when we were like 3 or 4 minutes into it. So it was very bizarre to travel a few hours by flight and then taking a car to get to the venue, basically spending there almost 2 full days to have a 3-minute match because someone decided to, I don't know, fake an injury or just was hurt, but that's what he said allegedly. We had like a 15-minute fight plan and we could only make 3 minutes. So it was a bit of a disaster because imagine, everything you go through before and during your time there in a different country preparing for this kind of, important feud that was about to start between us and all of that. And ever since that match, I cut ties with the people, with the promotion there. And I said that, okay, that's all I need to know. And yeah, luckily that's one of the very few bad experiences I think I had in my career, but that definitely stands out for me. So yeah.
I mean, did they at least pay for your flight?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's not about the money even. It's about, the whole thing, right? It's like you go there, you have to stay there overnight, you are away from your friends or your family, you are, not in the comfort of your home, and you have big expectations, right? Like you are told that this is going to be the best of 3 series, that this is going, we'll give you an important place on the card and this and that, and then, like after 3 minutes, everything ends. And, 3 minutes, it, right? You have a podcast. You know that 3 minutes is nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that definitely sucks.
I hope that this makes it, qualifies for the bizarre road that you asked me to.
It's definitely bizarre, for sure.
Okay, cool.
Well, let's kind of take it back. Before you were in pro wrestling, you were a contributor to SoloWrestling.com. Can you tell us about that?
I see that you have done your homework very well. So, yes. In the same place where I'm sitting right now, right here, right now, this is where I was writing the articles for SoloWrestling.com. I had the privilege and the honor to work for the website that before that was my one and only source of wrestling information in Spanish. We built a fantastic community back then on the forums and the chat and all of that. And I'm talking to you about 2005, 6, 7, 8. So, it's been a while, right? Mm. And I had no experience whatsoever on journalism or anything. But I happen to have a very good writing skills. That's something I'm really proud of. So when the opportunity came and they needed someone to cover Raw, so basically that would be to watch Raw, Monday Night Raw, if possible live, but if not early in the morning on Tuesday, to write a report of what happened, translate the promos, and just give a very, high-level detail on every single match and everything so that the people, when they enter the website, they can go to the Raw report and just read it, right? Because a lot of people back then, even in Spain and the Spanish-speaking community, couldn't see wrestling live or on demand. There was no network. The only way to see it was downloading it from some torrents or, it was a different world back then, right?
The good old-fashioned days.
Yeah, absolutely. So when the opportunity came, I didn't hesitate. And I was in high school, I was preparing for college, but I was still in high school. And I remember, waking up in the morning, going to, I think the website was Extreme Wrestling Torrents, if I'm not mistaken. And downloading the torrent and watching it through before going to school, or sometimes even taking the computer with me, the laptop, and watching it during school time. And writing the reports and sending it to Sebastian, who was the webmaster, who is still today the webmaster and the administrator. And it was a fantastic time. Then Solo Wrestling actually deployed the solo wrestling magazine that was available in the whole country. And to be able to be in a magazine and have your picture there and see that you were, like one of the writers or collaborators or supporters, I don't know, choose the adjective that you prefer. It was really a really, really proud moment. And I thought that back then that this will be, that I have already reached glass ceiling, right? Like there is nothing else. Like this is the top I can do in wrestling because there is nothing more about wrestling around me. So I was very, very proud and very happy. Those were very, very happy times, very fun times.
It's crazy, you talk about, downloading torrents in 2005. And, now we're in 2025, and, all you need is a Netflix subscription.
Absolutely, or WWE Network. Now everything is on our hand reach, right? Like Instagram, social media, YouTube. You want to watch any match, you can just go and watch it. I could show you how many VHSs and DVDs I have because it was the only thing I could watch, And I have watched maybe WrestleMania 18 in VHS, and I'm not exaggerating, but more than 500 times, I tell you, because it was the only thing I could watch. So I know that the 3-hour show, play-by-play and commentary, word by word. I know absolutely everything about this show because I watched it a lot of times. I had nothing else to watch. And torrents was also tricky because, you can download the show, but you don't know if that's going to be the show or it's going to be the file is going to be corrupted or the language will be, I don't know, in German instead of English, for example, right?
Right.
So there were a lot of challenges back then.
No, I definitely understand where you're coming from. I still have every WWE paid preview from 2001 to 2014.
Right.
So,
yeah.
And my friend, he rips on me and he says, that's on the network, right? You don't need all those discs. But
Yeah.
I mean, nowadays, but back then, if you didn't watch it on paid preview when it came on, you didn't get to see that paid preview. You had to wait until the DVD came out. And
I get it.
So, it was definitely a different time, to say the least.
Absolutely. I even recently purchased WrestleMania 39 in DVD. I had the privilege to be there in Los Angeles watching it live. And I wanted to have it, in physical format because, it gives me that nostalgia and that, it's also like a piece of art for me. I have it stored there. I have it, in a shelf, proper displayed. And, I could have it, and I have it 2 clicks away from me. I just entered Netflix and I click WrestleMania 39 and I got it, right? But to have the DVD, the physical DVD, I don't know, just for me, and maybe I'm weird or I'm too old, but that gives me something that the digital thing sometimes don't give me.
No, I totally get it. It requires no internet access as well. So no buffering, no, if the Wi-Fi goes out, it dies. You could.
Or if Netflix for whatever reason that day is not working, or it goes down or whatever, I can still watch it, right?
Right. And funny enough, I was at WrestleMania 39 myself.
Oh, really?
Yes, I'm in Los Angeles, so it was
okay.
local.
So it's funny because you see, that's exactly what I was talking about at the beginning, that this is such a wonderful world that wherever you go or wherever you are, you can always find someone who likes wrestling, or you can find wrestling, or, and at the end, I know the wrestling world right now moves millions of fans and is massive, but still at the end of the day, we are not that many. So, I never talked to you before. I don't know even how you look, my friend. But we were at some point together in the same stadium watching wrestling.
Yes. And that's
beautiful.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Going back to solo wrestling, did the writing for them, and did that help you when you actually did kind of step into the ring?
Yes, 100%. It also helped me to learn a lot of English because obviously I needed to translate the promos or, everything that was said there. I needed to translate it to Spanish. So it helped me with the language. It helped me to really sit down and try to convey in the best possible way what I'm seeing and what I'm understanding, trying to convey to words, to any sort of documentation that no matter if you are 3 years old or 89 years old, you will understand what I'm saying or what I'm writing in this case. So it helped me a lot to, to understand that one thing is to know and to see and to understand for yourself, but another thing is to transmit this message or this information to a third party. And wrestling promos are no different, right? Because you have your idea on your head of what you want to say, or the promoter or the writers or the bookers, they give you an idea of what you should say on camera with a microphone. But then it's up to you on how do I send this message, or how do I make sure that anyone behind this screen understands and feels for what I'm doing. So in that sense, yeah, it helped me a lot.
All right. Now, can you tell us about your love of video games?
Oh man, my God, we can. If you open that thing, we will be here until next day. I love video games since I have a memory, and with that, my parents were always quite restricted about playing video games at home because we had only one TV, which was in the living room, and of course, I could only play video games when nobody else was there, and that was pretty challenging, right? So,
right.
But yeah, I had in Sega Mega Drive when I was a kid. My parents, actually, you see how hypocrite they were. They were the ones who bought it for me, but then they were almost not allowing me to play. How crazy is that? So they bought it to me in 1994. So I was 4 years old. And I remember that, I don't know, it was like entering a new dimension. I was playing Sonic the Hedgehog, and I remember that, okay, this is crazy. And then, of course, I had most of the consoles that were in the market. I still play today a lot, but now I'm more of like a social player. I like to play with my friends, to play all together some games. I was never a very competitive guy when it comes to video games, so I just play for fun. I play to enjoy. And if you ask me, yes, I already have played today some video games.
What was you playing today?
I was playing today Hitman 3 World of Assassination. Is the Not Hitman 3, sorry, Hitman World of Assassination, which compiles the Hitman 1, 2, and 3 video games in Steam.
Okay, so in
I like retro games a lot.
So
I like retro games from Super Nintendo and all of that. Sorry.
Oh, no, continue.
Yeah, no, I really, I have virtual glasses, so I have the Oculus and all of that, but I find myself enjoying more playing a game for Super Nintendo or for Game Boy Color. Some of those, retro games, I find them more interesting than 99% of the modern video games.
Well, you mentioned Steam. So you're using PC, correct?
Mostly not right now, yes. Yeah, because the last console I actually purchased was the PS4, and I stay there. That's the newest console I own. But when it comes to retro, I have all the consoles, and now I play mostly on computer because I like the emulators to play, for example, Mega Drive or Famicom or Sega Genesis, all of that stuff, right? So, but now I'm playing computer because it's the most comfortable. And, in a laptop, you can basically play anywhere. You don't need to be in the living room in the big TV.
I mean, I prefer playing on the big TV. It's a more of an immersive experience.
I prefer it too, but coming back to what I said, there is always somebody at home who, maybe prefers to watch the TV there instead of me playing, right?
Well, what's your all-time favorite?
It's a very hard question, It depends on which moment of the year you ask me. I can probably tell you a different answer, but I think the first Pokemon versions, so like the red and the silver, those are my probably two favorite games of all time. But then, of course, My first wrestling video game was SmackDown Just Bring It for PS2.
Okay.
And yeah, I played this game, I don't know, maybe 10,000 hours, maybe more, I don't know. I was a freaking addict to that game. So it also has a very special place in my heart. But the Pokemon's games are very, very high there. Metal Gear Solid, yeah, all those games are one kind.
All right. Well, I think that brings us to the colossal question. Let's say that they're making a movie about you. Every movie has a soundtrack. What would be the first 3 songs on your movie soundtrack?
Oh man, I also love music. That's a very hard question. I really like soundtracks of movies, of historic movies. I think Hans Zimmer will definitely compose one of them. Some sort of like the Gladiator theme song or something like that.
Okay.
So that's one for sure. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I also like... that's a very hard question, man. I have so many, but if I have to go with some, I would say that Hans Zimmer will have one, like for the most epic moments. I would have something more aggressive, like, I don't know, Foo Fighters or 3 Days Grace or something like that for some intense moments during the movie.
Okay.
Like, I Hate Everything About You from 3 Days Grace, for example. And then I would have something more like, I don't know, something like Queen. I love Queen. So Freddie will definitely sing some of, like, We Are the Champions or something to closing, for the credits. That would be a good closing for any movie, I would say. So why not for mine? So yeah, there you go. You have Gladiator theme song from Hans Zimmer. You have I Hate Everything About You from 3 Days Grace. And you have We Are the Champions from Queen.
Definitely an eclectic group of songs for sure.
Yeah. I actually love music so much. In summer, I'm always on concerts or going to places to listen to music. So it's a very hard question, believe me. You should be really happy. It took me only 2 or 3 minutes to answer this question.
No, I dig it. Definitely a solid 3 picks, to say the least.
Right, yeah.
Now that we have the soundtrack down, everybody knows you get the soundtrack first, then you write the script, and then you go to casting. Who plays you? And you can't say yourself because you are obligated to make a Stan Lee-esque cameo.
Oh man, that's I don't know. That's a hard question actually. Who should portray me in the big screen? I have no idea. But you know what? I actually, I always liked Tom Cruise. I always find his acting very, very credible. And I think he would, they could make a movie about me, about wrestling and about all of that. And I think he could fit very good the character of main actor. So why not Tom Cruise, right?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Now that we have you casted, every movie has a supporting cast. Who would be 3 people with meaning to you and your story that would be in your movie, and who would be playing them?
So I would give the role of my significant one to Scarlett Johansson, because she would definitely has that aura that I think will represent very well my significant other.
And it's safe to go with one of the biggest superstars in Hollywood as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's no doubt. There's no doubt. And I like Resident Evil, the video game, so I would probably have it between her and Mila Jovovich, but I will go with Scarlett this time. So that's her. And then for I would give Arnold Schwarzenegger the role of my father, who is also, like a very important piece of my whole life, obviously, but in the movie, I think it will fit perfect. The supporting casting that we're aiming for. And then I would need to think about, I don't know. There must be, I think the promoter to the company I work for right now should also be in the movie. So why not give him, I would give Jack Nicholson, because actually they are not so different physically. And obviously Jack Nicholson is a Hall of Fame legend. I would give him the role of my first wrestling promoter. So there you go. You have so three pieces. You have Scarlett, you have Arnold, and you have Jack. How about that?
Yeah, it's definitely sounding...
How much is it going to cost that?
It's definitely sounding like a great movie. A blockbuster, to say the least.
Absolutely.
And you could pre-order the tickets now.
Yeah.
Now onto a controversial subject. Pineapple on pizza. What's your stance?
Why not? Not my piece of cake. No pun intended. But why not? Experiment, find what you like. If you like soup with chocolate, just go for it. Life is too short to not make those decisions. So yeah, why not?
You're drinking soup with chocolate in it?
No, I don't. But that's the first crazy analogy that came to my mind. Like somebody putting, I don't know, a piece of chocolate inside a hot soup. That's the first thing that came to my mind. That's something ridiculous. But hey, maybe it works. So if you like it, just, don't do what others think or what others might say. Just do what you want to do, right? So, yeah, why not? I think I've ate that pizza before in my life. It's actually called Hawaiian pizza, right? Hawaiian or something like that. It's like pizza from Hawaii. So, yeah.
But technically it was invented in Canada, but I digress.
Okay. All right. Well, whatever it was, maybe somebody had a mistake and it turned out to be a very controversial one.
Oh, it's definitely a controversial one, for sure.
Yeah.
But you are leaning more towards pro-pineapple on pizza.
Yeah, definitely.
What's your spirit Pokemon?
Wait, which is my favorite Pokemon?
Who's your spirit Pokemon? So the one you identify the most as.
I think Gengar is one of them. He's a ghost. He's supposed to be a bad guy, or people think that he's a bad guy, but he has his heart. He can look intimidating, or he can look no friendly sometimes, but still he has his smile, and you need to know him to understand him. So why not? I think Gengar is a good option.
Okay.
Yeah.
Weirdest question you'll be asked on a wrestling interview, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
Would you ever consider wrestling a Rock? Not Dwayne Johnson, not the country, an actual physical Rock.
I have very, very mixed feelings sometimes when I see people wrestling with a tent or with a pizza, all these Instagram reels that we see from time to time, or with I don't know, man. I probably would not, Sometimes I'm very old school when it comes to that. I think some of those things makes the business looks a little bit goofy and not for the good reason. So no, I will not wrestle a Rock.
Fair enough. Well, there is indeed a wrestler named Psycho Mike that wrestled a Rock for over 15 minutes in a Tungsten Man match. That's an Iron Man match that lasts for 2 weeks.
Oh my God. Yeah, why not? If it works for him and he thinks that there is something that he can get out of it, just go and do it. I'm not going to be a hypocrite and say, do whatever you want with the food, but hey, don't touch the rest. No, just do whatever you want if it works. I personally wouldn't do it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
On a more serious note, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
That's a very good question. This is a question I sometimes get on professional work, not wrestling, but on my my real job, I would say. When I go to an interview, well, the interviewers always ask this question, like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? That's a very hard question, but I always say this. So 5 years ago, I dreamed to be where I am today. So where do I see myself in 5 years? In a position in which I can look back and I can be proud of everything I did, but I cannot say absolutely specifics because for me, life is what happens when we are making plans, is the things that are happening aside that plan. This is life. We set a goal, and life is taking us sometimes through very, very different directions. And sometimes we can achieve that plan or that goal, of course, but we have to embrace the way. So I don't know where I will be in 5 years, but I just hope I will be happier, or at least proud of what I've done in the last 5 years. So I don't know if that qualifies as an answer, but I hope so.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
That's great.
And what is one of your matches that you would recommend to people that best shows off what you are all about as a pro wrestler?
I would say two of them. And actually the two of them, I think, the two of them were discussed here. One is a babyface one and one is a heel one. And you mix them both and you have absolutely who I am and why I do what I do. One is the defining match moment, defining storyline moment between me and Sinister at PTW Legends. It's a last standing match. I'm personally very proud of that match. And if I can, very quickly, I just wanted to say that our agent for that match was John Bad Bones Klinger, who sadly passed away a year ago. And, this match will always have a very important place in my heart because of being a peak moment in our storyline, because of the venue, because of the crowd, because of the match gimmick, and because of John being our agent for that match and helping us with details and things. So that's one. And the other is as a heel. I haven't worked a lot as a heel yet because, well, my career has taken me through babyface moments. But I have a heel match that I'm quite proud of, and that's the match that we talked about like 30 minutes ago, and it's my main event in Nordic Elite Wrestling against Carlos Zamora for the world title. That's a match that I'm very proud of because, first of all, it's a main event for the title against Carlos. Second of all, because it was my first match after few months injury in one of my shoulders that I was not feeling comfortable with. So it was like a test of fire for me to go through that. And also I play a heel. I mean, I was a heel in that match. So to do and to experiment different things during the match that I'm often not comfortable with, or not comfortable, but things that I don't tend to do because I'm used to be a babyface. That's a very big contrast. So those are the two matches I would recommend. And both of them are actually in YouTube. So you can easily Google them and enjoy or not.
Perfect. And I will find those matches on YouTube, and I will put a link to them in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and Castbox for anybody that hasn't seen them, wants to see them, wants to re-see them after this interview.
Awesome.
And since we are nearing the conclusion of this interview, we are wrestling with the 8 questions of doom.
Mm-hmm.
This is our speed round, our bonus round, the round where we see who you really are. Are you ready? Oh, hello?
Oh, sorry. I couldn't hear that. It was like I'm sorry. Can you repeat the question?
Yes. This is our speed round, our bonus round, the round where we see who you really are. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Excluding yourself, greatest wrestler of all time.
Greatest wrestler I worked with, or the greatest wrestler, in my opinion?
Greatest wrestler of all time.
Of all time?
Yes.
For me, personally, very, very controversial opinion, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Worst wrestler.
Worst wrestler. Oh man, that's so bad. I mean, okay, this is the 5 questions of doom. I need to answer. James Ellsworth.
I will accept that answer.
Sorry?
I will accept that answer.
Oh, okay, cool.
You're main eventing WrestleMania for the World Championship. Who is your opponent?
I would actually say The Rock, but okay, I already said that, so let's... I can say...
You could say
No,
The Rock
that's
if
okay.
you want.
Okay, my second favorite wrestler, who I actually had the chance to meet at WrestleMania 39, is Kurt Angle. So there is nobody more legit for you to fight and eventually win at a main event at WrestleMania for the world title than Mr. Kurt Angle. So yeah.
You saw him at WrestleCon, right?
Yes, that's correct.
I was at WrestleCon as well.
You see, so we were even in a smaller building together.
And oddly enough, the guy that that had Kurt Angle in his boot, I know him as well. I actually interviewed him.
I heard that story. I heard that, but I haven't seen that at the time. But yeah, I've heard that someone actually did that.
Yes. If you could come out to anyone's entrance music, past or present, who would it be?
Oh, that's a hard question, man. Past or present? Well, definitely past for me. But, you know, I always really... Of course, The Rock is my favorite wrestler, and I like his music, and that's amazing. But I always enjoyed so much the entrance music of Shawn Michaels, always. And he has had the same exact theme song for, 25 years? So, yeah, I'm going to stick with that. Like,
Sexy
yeah.
boy.
HBK.
Mm-hmm. Finish the sentence. Kayfabe is...
Dead. Kayfabe is dead. 100%, 1,000,000%. It's a precious thing from the past.
We would have also accepted tastes great on toast. Squash, vegetable or fruit?
Fruit, 100%.
Yes, it is indeed a fruit. It has seeds, tomato logic.
Right.
New Japan...
Contrary to what people might think, I'm quite an intelligent guy.
New Japan wrestler Taichi. His ring gear gets smaller every year, revealing more of himself to the world. My question, what is the appropriate trunks to butt cheek ratio for ring gear?
Sorry, but you will need to repeat the question. I didn't understand it very well. I'm sorry. Can you repeat it once again?
What is the appropriate trunks to butt cheek ratio for ring gear?
The appropriate ratio for butt cheeks?
So, when somebody is wearing wrestling trunks,
yeah,
how much of their butt should show?
Nothing. Zero. Zero. Because it distracts the audience from more important things. And I have seen a lot of wardrobe dysfunctions live and in shows, and it really takes the whole aura of the competitors out. So as minimum as possible.
Gotcha.
Yep.
And the last question, the main event, the thing everybody wants to know. Have you ever had a conversation with a stranger in a supermarket about Darby Allin?
In a million years, I will have such conversations in the supermarkets I frequently go to.
So you haven't?
No, I haven't.
And that is the correct answer.
Oh, I didn't know there is a correct answer.
Yes. And that will conclude this interview. Thank you so much for coming on and doing this with me.
Sorry, can you speak up again? I'm sorry, I just have some problems with the speaker.
No, that will conclude this interview. Thank you so much for coming on and doing this with me.
Yeah, no, that's my pleasure, James. It was such a great hour already. You see how the time flies when we are having a good time. So I appreciate you inviting me here, and I had also a very nice time. Thank you.
Absolutely. And once again, where can we find you on social media and your merchandise?
The most active I am in Instagram, so you can find me there at Starboy Nano Lopez altogether. And currently I'm selling merchandise only at the live events, but if you're really interested in some of my t-shirts or pictures or sunglasses, you can drop me a message to the same Instagram account at Starboy Nano Lopez, and I will get in touch with you for details and shipping.
Perfect. And you don't have to even type it into your Google machines. All of the links to all his social media will be in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and Castbox, simply click the link. A new tab will appear on whatever device you are on. You have no excuse. Give him a damn follow and buy a damn shirt. Of course, thank you for listening. If you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, comment. But on YouTube and Castbox, this was sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. Join us next Tuesday and Wednesday for new incredible interviews, and follow the show at Wrestling with E, both on X, Thread, and Instagram for information on who we're interviewing, when we're interviewing them, links to those interviews, and so much more. Follow me personally at JamesJ993. Right, when I say wrestling what, you say entertainment, okay? Oh.
Awesome.
For our very special guest, Nano Lopez, Calico Yacht, Scooter Dust, I'm James J, and this has been Wrestling with
Entertainment.
Hey folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show, support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.